Please.
There we go. Awesome. So welcome to Keller Williams Neighborhood's Rookie Night. We are going to do this once a month, and we are super excited to have an amazing guest here today, Tyler Little, who of course is an amazing Keller Williams agent who I know is going to bring a massive amount of value and information to all of you. And you will walk away with something that you can start implementing right away. So let's welcome Tyler. Thank you for being here with us. And Tyler, why don't you get started and just introduce yourself and give a little bit of background?
My name is Tyler Little. I'm living in Cambridge right now, but I originally grew up in Kitchener. I came from the corporate sales world over to real estate. I didn't really like the corporate world too much. It wasn't really my vibe, but I've been here for about a month since January 4th, and I am liking it so far.
Okay, so right there was just a little bomb, guys. Did you hear that? He started January 4th.
Got it.
Okay. Okay, so let's just start there. Okay, you've literally been like a month in the business, and you came from the corporate sales environment, right? So you've got some transferable skills there that you're bringing into these conversations. So why don't you connect the dots for the audience around, what skills have you brought to the table that's really helped propel you so quickly?
So the one thing that I think I've transferred over, and it's still kind of a learning experience with real estate, is time management. Being in sales, you have to learn how to kind of manage a multiple of clients. And then in real estate, it's the same thing. So you kind of I came in with the mindset of I knew kind of how to properly manage my time. And then when people were telling me, okay, this is typically the time blocks that you need to make in real estate, I kind of understood how to move forward with those.
Mm-hmm. So before we move into the time blocking conversation, because I know as an agent starting out in the industry, and by the way, for the audience, even if you're in the industry 20 years, that is still the same conversation around how do you time block. So before we get into that, I do want everyone to hear, because I don't know if it's changed since the last time we spoke, how many deals have you put under contract since January 4th?
7.
7. And how many active clients are you working with right now?
Right now, 5.
5.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's your goal for February?
For transactions or for a number of clients?
Transactions.
I would like to do 5 again. I did 5 in January. I'd like to do 5 again in February.
Mm-hmm. And you're already 2 down.
2 down, yeah.
And it's February 2nd.
Yeah. So
coach hat on, right? Coach hat on. You could probably push that a little bit, right? Because you already proved you could do 5.
True, yeah. Yeah. Push it to 8, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's get into that time blocking conversation, right? Because you mentioned that was a skill set that you brought in, right? That kind of mindset, because there's 2 pieces, right? There's the mindset behind the time and commitment, and then managing your time so that you have a great flow of the day, right?
Yeah.
Where you can follow through. So what does your time block look like?
So right now, what I'm doing is from 8 to 8:30 in the morning, I'm doing scripting with my team leader, Jeff. And then 8:30 to 9, I'm usually prepping. I'll drink coffee and get organized, kind of getting ready. Exactly. Leading up to 9. And then usually I've noticed with real estate, and I think this has been obvious information, that the morning is pretty wide open unless you get incoming calls, but usually it's quieter than in the evening or the afternoon. So I'll usually do cold calls, or I'll do door knocking with Jeff or by myself, but usually I'll leave that open for prospecting. And then in the afternoon, if nothing kind of comes up, I will usually start searching for clients. I want them to feel like I'm actively invested in them. So the clients that I do have, I'll try to look for homes and keep them motivated, because in this market, with how competitive houses are, I find that the buyers can get discouraged quicker. So you have to like keep their energy up, keep them kind of going. So I keep kind of sending houses to them. We should see this one. We should see this one, so that they just feel like they shouldn't get discouraged. They should continue. And then in the evening, I'll do showings.
In the evenings, you'll do showings. And just to give a little bit of context for everyone, because I know everyone, is sitting in a different personal space when it comes to family. Are you married? Are you engaged? Do you have kids?
I am engaged with no kids. So.
Okay. So you do still have a significant other that has a major impact in the decision making of how you manage your time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
The good thing about that is she's a paramedic in Toronto, so she's usually on night shift. So we never really see each other anyway. So it kind of works.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what I heard in that, Tyler, was that you work on your skill set 8 to 8:30. You do prep from 8:30 to 9, and then you go right into lead generation in the morning. And then the afternoons are set for appointments, right? Or looking at inventory.
Yes. Usually I leave it open. Sometimes I'll run numbers for clients as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not hearing anything different in that. I mean, we all know that Gary tells us, right? Role plays and scripts right into lead generation and lead follow-up. That's your morning right up until 12 o'clock.
Yeah. So it's like nothing spectacular. I'm pretty much just doing what I've been told.
Yes. Yeah. No secret sauce here.
Yeah.
No easy button. Other than just doing what you're told.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's dig into that a little more. So you're doing the lead generation and lead follow-up, right? In the morning every day. Yes. And you're doing the scripting every day?
Yes. Weekdays.
Weekdays, yeah. Not Saturday, Sunday.
No, not Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. So I imagine that you've got a target that you're looking to hit when you're doing the lead generation.
So right now, Jeff, he made us one of these. It's like a book with all of our numbers. So what it looks like for now is in January, we should do 25 contacts each. So I'm trying to hit at least 25, but I think if I have nothing going on in the morning, I will just keep going. I'll try to surpass it, because I think that if I'm not prospecting at this point, because I'm kind of new, I'm not like overwhelmingly busy yet. I am busy, but so it just feels like I just keep going until noon at least.
Yes. So let's just clarify for the group, right? The goal is not to be busy, it's to be productive. We're all great at being busy, right? We all mastered the skill of filling time. So productive is something completely different. And yet 7 deals under contract, working with 5 buyers, you're still able to commit to your lead generation every day.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So the target is 25 in the lead generation block.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if 12 o'clock rolls around and you're only at 15 or you're only at 20?
The situation has come up a lot. I will just make sure that I hit the numbers. So usually I'll just kind of offset my time and just make sure that I keep prospecting and then move on from there. Because there is some days where like I'll have to put an offer in by noon. So I won't have like as much time to do the prospecting, but then usually after the offer's in, I'll go back to it.
So you don't just like stop when you need to. You actually erase and replace and make sure you still hit the target by the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Again, nothing none of us already know, right?
Yeah. It's not amazing or anything.
Yeah, because the goal is not to fill the space from 9 to 12. The goal is to get the number of contacts.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So everyone's dying to know, what have you done to create the 7 deals in 30 days?
So one thing I think is good for, I guess, new people, although I've only been here for a little bit, so I'm not going to say I'm an expert in anything yet, but is just to be open to any opportunities. So The good thing about me consistently looking for houses in this market is there's some outliers that you'll find. So some of my clients will go to homes where they don't have like a 244 attached to it. So they won't be holding offers. So it won't get as competitive. So I've been openly looking for those. And when we find those, I run the numbers for them. And I try to give them the confidence to say, if you come in at this number, I think you're going to win. And then usually they'll get into offer situations that potentially only have like 6 or maybe to 10. And then just being aware of what's happening in the market is really, really valuable to make sure you hit the opportunities when they come in front of you.
That just sounds like to me providing value to your clients and making sure you're taking the time to study your market.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, one thing I want to point out here, because I know you and I talked yesterday, right? And the misconception that I find with a lot of people entering the real estate market as an agent is that, their first deals are going to come from their family and friends, right? Like first you kind of tap that market and then you spread your wings out to other people. So of the 7 deals that you've done, how many are from family or friends?
None right now.
None.
Yeah.
So just all purely from lead generation.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. I want to make sure you guys hear that, right? Because here's the thing, like we're not getting anything new here. All we're literally hearing is, Tyler's following the process. He's putting himself out there and looking for the opportunities. And lo and behold, what you focus on expands. And here he is, 7 written deals later.
Yeah.
So Tyler, if you were to break it down, for let's just say the top 3 things, right, that you feel built the foundation of this achievement, what would those 3 things be?
So the number one thing I think is I think lead generation is the most important, because as a new person, you start with nothing. You start from 0 and you have to get the ball rolling. So you almost have to do more than the people who have been here for maybe a year or longer. So I think that's a really important start. So just keep hitting as many people as you can. And then eventually it's going to feel like you kind of just like fall in place at the right moment over the phone. There's going to be a person that you just ask them if you could help them out with making a move. And then they're like, yeah, oh my God, you just called me and I was just thinking about it. That's amazing, kind of thing. So I think that's pretty important. And then number 2 is I think like making sure that you can instill confidence in your clients is a big one. Like you have to, in my opinion, exude like positive energy. Like I try to like be like a joke. I'm joking all the time. Like I'm trying to make them feel like I'm not some greasy real estate agent that's just going to get commission from them and never talk to them again. I want them to know that I care. So I try to put that vibe out, because that is the vibe that I am feeling. And then I guess the next thing is just, I guess sounds kind of cheesy, but I guess work ethic. Just keep like being open to the opportunities. It's keep like, if you have to go for showings late at night, just do it. If you have to do it, 5 nights a week, just keep doing it. And then your momentum will continue to build. And then you'll have like a lot of clients on hand.
I don't know about you guys, but at the basis of all that kept going in my head was mindset, right? Positive mindset, having the right energy, feeling confident, exuding confidence, work ethic. Well, work ethic is based on mindset, right? Either you're willing to have hustle and grit or you're not, right? That's a choice. So all of that just tied up in a bow is mindset.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, James, I saw you raise your hand. If I saw that correctly, did you have a question?
I did, but I know that we're going to go into like questions a little bit later, so I thought I'd just keep it to myself for now, keep the momentum going, and then I'll ask it later.
Okay. All right. So I want to swing back around to what you mentioned when we were talking about time blocks. You said you were doing script practice from 8 to 8:30. So what scripts do you guys focus on?
We do bold scripts. So we have a book of bold scripts, and each day in the morning I will, Jeff will just say, which one do you want to do? And then I'll just open it. And then I'll usually choose one that usually pertains to an objection that I'm handling over the phone. And then we'll go with that one. This morning was, we're looking to, we had some ideas of listing our house, but where would we go? So we kind of went through that for a bit.
And do those help you in your conversation?
They do a lot, yeah. So they help me not only with like helping to improve the way I talk on the phone, but it also helps me to get my energy going in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So like many people, I do drag myself out of bed in the morning, and I'm not like always enthused at like 8 a.m. So if you start scripting, it helps you to kind of get in the flow, and then your mindset kind of changes from, oh my God, it's so early, to, okay, let's make some phone calls.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, I'm gonna throw some things out there that I've heard from a lot of different agents, not even brand new, like been in the industry for years. Scripts don't work. Would you agree or not agree?
So I don't agree. I think what I will say is that when I first started scripting, I was trying to read it like a robot from the page, which doesn't work. Like if you go like try to read it, but what you do is you kind of like take the questions and take what it says and just kind of add your own kind of personality to it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a flow and you don't sound like a robot on the phone, because then you're probably going to get hung up on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Scripts are too salesy. Agree or disagree?
Disagree. Like I said, if you're reading it like a robot, you're going to sound salesy. If you're, just kind of adding it to your own personality, you're going to sound like an everyday person trying to help out.
Bold scripts only work in the States. Agree or disagree?
I disagree. I don't know if it works in the States, but I think it definitely is valuable here too. It's good to, there's new objections on the phone all the time. Like even now I'll hear them and I'll still get like, oh, and then I'll just kind of, once in a while that'll happen, but at least knowing like questions to ask and having the confidence to know like the next thing to say when somebody says something. So if somebody says like, the market's too competitive right now, you kind of have like a counter for that. And then as you keep doing it, like the first few times you counter that, you may sound like kind of like not great, but then if you keep doing it, all of a sudden it's like second nature to throw that objection, that answer to that objection out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it reminds me of what Diana used to teach us when she said, you can't give what you don't have. If you're not practicing the scripts and internalizing the scripts, then you can't pull them out when you need them based on where the conversation's going.
Yeah, it kind of helps you to like not freeze up when you get like an objection that you don't know what to do next. Because usually when somebody asks you a question that you don't know the answer to, you get a little like stressed, and then all of a sudden the whole conversation spirals downwards. But if you have like a counter, then like the fluidity of the conversation keeps going.
Yeah. My go-to anytime that I get stuck, which by the way happens all the time, anytime that I get stuck, it's like, that's a great question, or that's a great point. What's important about that for you?
Yeah.
And, more often than not, what they stated as an objection wasn't actually what was important. And it completely shifted the conversation and allowed me recovery time, right? And also an ability to take them where I wanted them to go in that conversation.
Yeah. And I've been trying to learn that as well. I think coming from corporate, it almost turns you a little bit into like, not a robot, but a little bit like you're very transactional. And I've noticed with here, you have to ask like you're genuinely interested, which I am, but it's hard to kind of get to that point. So asking like, what does that look like for you? All of a sudden it's a conversation. It's not would you like to sell your home? Kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, we might be utilizing our scripts, right, to put all of those great handlers and techniques inside of us. But at the end of the day, we've got to be asking more questions than giving responses.
Yeah.
Now, do you record your role plays and scripts so that you can learn from them and see, where you could have pivoted, where maybe you missed the close?
Actually, no, I don't, but that's a good idea.
Okay, all of you write that down then. If you are lead generating and you're not recording yourself, you are missing out on an opportunity, because when you're present in the moment, you're present with that person in that conversation. So you're not going to be listening the same way that you would when you listen to a recording. So it's a great opportunity to go back, right? And see, oh, I should have closed there and I missed it. Or, I should have pivoted this way based on, what they said. So it's a great way to critique, take the feedback, and then shift.
Okay. Yeah. Do you usually record yourself on Zoom? Is that how you would do that?
If it's a face-to-face conversation, like if I'm doing a listing presentation on Zoom, absolutely.
Okay.
Right? Absolutely. Because here's the thing. There was a client that I was working with, which, this guy was like a script master. Okay. He could pull objection handlers out of the hat, not blink an eye. And no matter what, he could not sign a listing contract for the life of him. Every appointment he went on, no, didn't get the listing. And we could not figure out what was going on until I had him video himself. And when he looked back at the video, we both did it. He literally is saying everything perfect, right? But his head is going like this.
Oh yeah.
Like just like natural just movement, which he does all the time, right? But what is this doing subconsciously to somebody?
It's telling them no.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that little movement completely threw it off, and he would not have known if he hadn't recorded himself to see it. So if it's, over Zoom, great opportunity to record. If you're cold calling, record the phone call and go back 100%. You will find that you will increase your conversion the more you study yourself.
Okay. Yeah, it's a great idea. I'll try that out for sure.
Okay. All right. So, just to kind of reset here, there's been a lot of things that we've dove into so far, but would you all agree that there hasn't been anything like mind-blowing here yet? Yeah. Yeah, I think that theme will continue. So, when I talk to people launching in this industry, right, I always hear the terminology, I'm new. I'm a newbie. And I find that, sometimes that title can kind of stick for a while, right? What about you? Did you ever refer to yourself as a newbie?
Not maybe in my first few days, like I would, if I was calling a listing agent and I was asking questions that he was I could just tell he was like, why are you asking me this? Maybe I might've said it once, but from now on, I haven't said it since. I'm just kind of going with the flow, making everyone think I've been here for a year at least or so.
Has anyone ever asked you from a client perspective, how long have you been in real estate?
One did when I first started. I think I took someone for a showing, and the reason why he asked was because it was actually Jeff's client, and I just took him for a few showings. And I think that I look young. All of a sudden, I'm now taking him for showings. I think he got the vibe that I was probably new. So,
but no one else has asked.
No.
Interesting. So you go into the mindset without having that label attached to yourself, and therefore nobody's asking you about the label.
Yeah. I think like from what I've seen, it's like you just have to understand like the market you're in, and then it seems like there's like the same few objections that come up with people, and you just consistently handle those, and then all of a sudden now you're an expert, when realistically you only know like 3 or 4 things, but it ends up working.
3 or 4 of the most valuable things.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
I mean, at the end of the day, people will see you as an expert if they feel like they can trust you, you can help them, and you care.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's why I like real estate compared to corporate, is now all of a sudden I get to like get a little like emotionally invested in people, which is, it's kind of nice.
Absolutely. So with all this productiveness going on, when do you have time to attend training?
So I went to I can't remember what it's called. Ignite. I was in Ignite on weekends for it was like 10 to 10:45. Like I think I just went for a 45-minute session here or there when I first started to get into real estate. And then so I did that training to start. And then now it's just kind of ongoing training. I think Jeff does the trial by fire kind of method. So I will just do something and then I will get kind of discombobulated by it. But at the same time, I'm learning how to do it properly. So now I can do an offer in like 3 minutes and do all this like crazy fast stuff when I need it. So
They're kind of just like throwing you into the pool and you get to figure out how to swim.
exactly, yeah.
Because the only alternative is drowning.
Exactly, yeah. Nobody likes drowning.
No, absolutely not. So what's your goal for this year, Tyler?
So my goal, Jeff set a goal for me of 40, and now I've hit 7 in a bit. So I think we're talking about increasing that. So I might increase that to 50 if when this keeps going the way it is. I'm trying to change my terminology.
Thank you.
Jeff gets on me for that.
Yeah.
But it was 40. I'm going to say it's 40, but I do plan on increasing it because it's going better than I think was that. I mean, it's going better than it was planned.
Absolutely. So 40 transactions, that is more than 3 a month, guys. And Jeff chose not to wait to have that happen.
Yeah.
Like you just spurted out of the gates.
It is, yeah. It's kind of weird because I feel like I've been doing it for a long time, but I looked at my pay and I realized I received my last pay from my old job, and I was like, oh yeah, I've only been doing this for like a couple weeks. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to shift gears a bit because this topic always seems to come up. When we're starting our real estate career, we tend to build this habit of jumping, right? The minute somebody just slightly raises their hand around possibly doing something in real estate, we like immediately drop everything and jump, right? Doesn't matter what our time block is, oh my God, someone's ready to do a deal, and we just completely shift focus. Have you ever experienced that?
I still struggle with that a little bit. Like I'm trying to get because I am as a person, I have a bit of a tendency to be a people pleaser. So I'm like, sometimes I'm getting better at it, but sometimes I'm trying to please like all 5 to 7 people at the same time, and it gets a little hectic. But I am starting to get over the whole jumping thing and starting to realize like what are my big rocks, to steal that from Ignite. But you kind of understand like, hey, these people are ready to buy tonight. Like they would like to put an offer in tonight. I think they must go for a showing for this. And then these people, they're not going to review offers until Sunday, so we can go tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there was something you said in there as a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Right. Which, for those of you that are high eyes in the audience, right. You love to people please. You like to be liked.
Yeah.
So, that also brings up the aspect of, when you're working on not jumping, you're also working on setting standards.
Yes.
Around who you're willing and not willing to work with.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, I normally see the standards, up front don't get set. And then on the back end, we end up struggling to reset them with people or set them all together, right? As we get more productive. So what are your standards around who you work with?
So this one thing that I do ask is they sign the buyer's representation agreement and the working with a realtor document.
Say that again. Say it again.
Signing the buyer's representation agreement and the working with a realtor document.
Thank you. Every single one?
Every single one, yeah.
Thank you.
So what I've noticed with real estate is that there are quite a few people out there that are just looking to use you for some showings and then kind of cast you out. So you do want their show of good faith if you're going to spend your valuable time with them.
Yes. And knowing that your goal is 40 deals, your goal also dictates who's an actual lead for you, right? Because if they're not buying this year and willing to close this year, not even buy this year, willing to close this year, they're not technically a lead, are they?
No, they're just kind of, I guess, tire kickers is what I would call them.
Yeah. Or nurtures, if we want to be nicer.
Yeah.
Right? Some of them might be tire kickers. Some of them might just enjoy seeing homes. Right? But that just means if we end up working with people like that, that we missed something in the pre-qualification.
Yes.
So I imagine you also have a pre-qualification conversation.
Yeah, so I do a 45-minute buyer consultation on Zoom with each of the clients that I sign. So it'll usually be like a PowerPoint presentation where I am like going through things like pre-approval, and so it's really valuable for first-time home buyers. But at the end, they kind of see the value in that fact, and then they also give me value like, okay, we are pre-approved for this much. So like when you start to set them up on Matrix, you know exactly how to provide them with the most value, and that they're not going to end up potentially wasting time and not going for an actual house.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And that's with every single potential buyer.
Every single one, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to open it up right now. If anybody has a question for Tyler that we haven't already answered in what we've discussed so far. So who's got, I know James is dying to ask a question.
I have some questions. Sorry, let me just give myself like a few seconds to just compose myself again. Okay, first, are you cold calling or are you running ads? Like, where are the numbers that you're calling coming from?
So Jeff pays for Mojo. It's like an auto dialing system. And then I will cold call on that. And then he also we haven't got as much success from this, but we get some. It's like a Facebook lead generation for like his listings, and people reach out on there as well. But as far as cold calling, we do Mojo. Usually we'll take like a certain region of, let's say, Waterloo off of tele listings, and then we'll just run it in Mojo, and then I'll just keep calling, and then it'll that's how I generate contacts, is on there. Or we'll do door knocking.
Nice. What's been your most powerful lead gen source? Do you track that? Like, out of your 5, contracts or active clients right now, where did they all come from?
I really like door knocking. Now it's hard right now with the stay-at-home order, so we're not doing it right now. But I feel much more comfortable door knocking than cold calling. I don't mind cold calling, but I like the idea of like standing there with a flyer in front of them.
100%.
Yeah.
Door knocking also has a much higher conversion, so you're handling a little bit less rejection. I mean, the door slamming in your face can be a little bit worse than the phone clicking, but you only have to do it, a little bit less than cold calling. So,
yeah. What's
the saying? You need to get through 7 no's to get to a yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I heard the stat like 100 door knocks will get you a contract, whereas like 1,000 cold calls will get you a contract.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So those are obviously very rough numbers, but that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Okay,
hold on, James. I know you got a list, but let's just give an opportunity for somebody else to ask a question, then we'll circle back. So who else has a question for Tyler?
I do.
Dina,
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, I'm kind of curious as to what point in the conversation you get them to sign I understand you do the Zoom training, the Zoom presentation, but at what point do you get them, or do you ask them to sign the 320 and the 810?
So I will, at the end, after we do the whole presentation, there's like a slide that says like, I just asked for your loyalty, and then I'll ask that. And then I'll ask them if that's okay. And then they'll say yes. And then I'll say, would you like to work with me? And I would say I can tell from their answer whether they're actually going to sign the documents or not. Most people will say yes, which you can tell like just by the way they say it. But at the end I ask, and then after, right, as soon as it's done, I send them the documents, and I'll usually attach a video on BombBomb that just goes through each of the legalese of it, just so they feel comfortable with kind of what the document's all about.
Okay.
Awesome question, Dina. Who else has a question?
I have
Yes.
lots.
Hold on, Mohammed raised his hand. Go ahead, Mohammed.
First of all, congratulate him. I congratulate Taylor for the 7 contracts or deals that he has.
Oh, thank you. Thank
The
you.
other thing is, Taylor, did you have any real estate experience before you got into KWNR or into real estate? The other question is, there's 4 questions I have. You can integrate them together. Do you have any listings for the clients that you've been trying to contact? And do you have any modules that you follow up? And also the most important is you emphasized a lot on the scripting. Do you think scripting is the most important things in real estate, with the client, for contacting the client?
I think it is. I would say it is very important, at least because when we're just talking all day, right? So you want to make sure you know how to guide the conversation to kind of go to the right places, not to like trick them into signing you or to signing with you, but to more or less figure out like what they're looking for. You want to know what their wants and their needs are. And then like Kelly said, you ask them, what does that do for you? And then they start to think about like, okay, then this is a great idea because I might actually get the things that I want and need.
Okay, my last question, Taylor, is regarding the presentations that you showed to your client. What is the first things that that you start when you start presenting? What do you do? What do you present to him?
So the first things that I will do is that I go over the difference between a consultant and a salesperson. So I think people, when they see real estate agents, that they're nervous that we're going to be pushy with them and we're going to like, buy a house. And then they don't want that. They want to kind of do it at their pace, or to feel kind of like you're not going to put that undue pressure. So I explain to them that I'm actually a consultant through this. I'm here to answer their questions. I'm here to consult with them as we go through showings and make sure that they're comfortable in every scenario to help them navigate through it. That would be the first thing I talk about usually.
Mm-hmm. So you're setting the tone of the relationship, essentially.
Exactly.
And what they can expect from you.
Yeah.
And Mohammed, I think I caught the first couple questions of that. So, and I know you came in a little bit late. Tyler worked in corporate sales before he came into real estate.
I did,
and of the 7 transactions you've done, Tyler, were they all buyers or any listings in that?
Oh, they're all buyers. I'm a buyer's rep right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Who else has a question before James pops in here?
I guess for me, like you kind of alluded to the Mojo dialer, right? So are these phone calls pre-existing from the database? Obviously you said you're a buyer agent, or are these like straight, like, yellow pages?
These are pretty much the yellow pages.
I
think they get them from Canada 411, or I'm not sure how Telelistings gets the numbers, but you just export it from Telelistings and then it'll give you all the numbers in that region. And then it just starts, it'll call 3 numbers at once and then one will pick up and then you talk to them. So it's pretty much just cold calling the yellow pages.
And how are you starting that conversation, since it's like, there's no relationship, there's nothing really there?
So it doesn't always go well. Like there'll be people that just don't want to talk to you and they're kind of grumpy, but usually it'll start out with be like, what'll happen is Jeff, right now, he has like a listing that'll sell. So what I'll do is I'll call through that neighborhood and I'll let them know, hey, we just sold this listing. It was in the market for 7 days and we got 51 offers on the property. And then giving them that information, usually it'll spike some interest at least. But if we don't have a listing, I will usually start by saying I'm a local real estate agent. And then I will go from there. I don't really like saying I'm from like the listings KW real estate team or something like that, because it sounds a little bit too salesy. So I'll say I'm a local area real estate agent. And then I'll say, I appreciate you taking the call. And then what I like to do after they answer a question, I'll just say, I'm reaching out right now. We're just looking for, we're looking for homes right now for our clients, because right now some of our clients are struggling to find homes with how competitive the market is. We just wanted to know if you know of anyone, whether it be a friend or a family member, that we could help out with making a move. And usually
That's amazing.
So simple, eh, guys? So simple.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. I just thought it was funny when we call our friends, and that's exactly what we're telling them, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not like I get every single person's like, of course, but usually you call like 100 people and then maybe you'll get a few people that have interest. I'm looking to sell in 6 months or looking to sell in 3 months. And then usually I'll say like, well, I predict the market's going to continue to increase over the next few months. If you could save 30 to 40 grand by buying now, would that be of interest to you? And sometimes, they'll say yes. And then you kind of take the conversation from there.
So let me ask a quick question here, because some of them are not going to be right now, right? Some of them are going to be 6 months. Some of them are going to be a year. So obviously, if you're calling off of a telelisting list, right, at a Mojo, if they're not buying right now, then how do you flip the conversation to be able to add them to the database and be able to follow up?
So if they're absolutely not gonna go until 6 months from now, I'll say, okay, well, what I can do, I'll send you an email with all of my contact info. And when you're ready, I'll follow up with you in, let's say, a few months, just see how your process is going. And then from there, I'll just kind of keep in their ear. So I'll send them like a video email, just introducing myself. I'm like, hey, this is Tyler Little. I just want to put a face to the name. And then go through that and send them like a script or my signature. And then they kind of keep me in mind. And then I'll just continue to follow up with them, let's say in like 2 months. If they say 6, I'll follow up with them in 2 months just to see if how the process is going. And then just kind of keep in their ear respectfully.
Okay. And how do you ask for the email?
I will usually what I'll say is I'll just say, I'm just going to send you my contact info. So when you're ready to kind of get into the market, you can reach out to me. What's your email? And then from there, I think that they realize it's non-aggressive. I'm not going to spam them. So they'll usually give it to me.
So I want you guys to hear that, right? Because he didn't ask, would it be okay if you gave me your email address so I could follow up with you? He just did the assumptive close on the fact that they would be willing to give the email address, and he just went right into it. What's your email? Now that is a specific technique that, by the way, gets embedded through role play and script practicing and everything else, so that you don't get into your own way, right? Because a lot of times we talk ourselves out of things all the time. So it's kind of a logical leap that we would use the same thing with other people and talk them out of what we're asking them to do. So I love that that you did that, Tyler, because I was looking to see, would you go for the assumptive close on that? And you did. So awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. We got 10 minutes left. Who has a question that they're dying to ask before we start to wrap this up? Yes, Tanya. And then Dina, you'll be next.
Okay, I have one question. You say you use bold scripting. Where do you get those bold scripting?
Oh, Yanya, don't you worry.
No?
We will, don't you worry. We will have the bold scripts.
Okay, I'm not there yet.
I want all of it.
Yeah.
I was going to say
Another
it was just in the
question.
office. I'm not sure where it came from.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Tyler, you're really new, right? In the sense of time in the market. So
Mhm.
Bold will be a course that I imagine Jeff will ask you to take when it is available. And it is a 7-week right now online, right? Course that focuses on your mindset, lead generation, business planning, all of that. So when it does become available, definitely take it. And Yanya and Dina and James, knowing you are, inside the PC program, you will be taking that this year. Okay.
Okay.
And we will work together on the scripts.
And as I understood, you work with a team under Jeff.
I do,
Yes.
yeah. I'm part of
Yes.
the listings KW Realty team.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
So he has the, benefit of working on a team, right? So he's got that direct mentorship, that direct support, right?
Yes.
Which, I mean, by the way, even as an individual agent, your office, you can get the same thing, right? Whether they have a coaching program or a mentorship program or whatever that is, it's the same thing. Now, I do want you to recognize, though, Tyler still has to work for all his leads,
Yeah.
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and that's what's amazing about Keller Williams, because we don't just, give leads, we teach you how to find them, right?
Okay.
So that was expectation day one, I imagine, Tyler, joining the team, that you got to put the work in.
For sure. Yeah. And Jeff, he's not, he wouldn't deal well with someone who's not willing to put the work in. So
Yeah.
you gotta make sure you keep up to the numbers.
Yes, absolutely. All right, Dina, you had a question?
Yeah, I think my question just changed, but going back to the fact that you're on the phone with them, cold calling, okay? Let's say they change, oh, hey, I'm looking to sell right now. Okay, so if this person is looking to sell, I believe you said they're your buyers, the ones that you've done have been buyers. Like, how do you introduce the Zoom meeting? And when you do the Zoom meeting introduction, like at what point in the conversation when you're doing your prospecting, right, you grabbed in to do that presentation in the Zoom meeting? And with regards to the Zoom meeting, how did you get the content to present it to them?
That's a double question.
So
It flows.
I got the content from Jeff. He already does this presentation, so he kind of gave it to me, and then I've just been running with it. And your first question, you were asking, like, when do I ask for them to go?
Yeah, because you do cold calling, right? And some of them you're like, hey, we have some people who are looking to buy. Do you know anybody that's looking to sell their homes, right? And if they're ready to sell, those particular people, or whether it's the buyer, at what point do you do the Zoom presentation with them, which then leads to you having them sign the agreements, the BRA and the A10?
It matters where the conversation goes. So I will usually try to have a conversation like, what does that look for you? And then they tell me what they're looking for in a home, why they want to move. Like, I just signed this lady named Marlise. She, not to give her too much of her personal information, but she got divorced. She was telling me this kind of stuff on the phone, and she's looking to move, and like, it just kind of, everything seemed to click. And then at that point I was kind of just like, okay, well, would you be interested in a buyer consultation? We do them over Zoom. It's very valuable for people entering in the housing market, and it can be very valuable to have representation to help you to navigate through it. And then I'll usually give them 2 times of like, what time works better for you? Would you rather Wednesday evening or Thursday afternoon?
Okay,
Again,
so it's based on the flow. Got it.
Yeah. And again, did you hear that? Assumptive close.
We're going to learn that, right?
Yes, you're going to learn that. But
I'm excited.
It's very, very key, right? Because we don't want to open it up to a further discussion. If we already know that they're going to agree to a Zoom meeting, then when you give them 2 options, their only option is to choose one or the other, right? So the likelihood that they'll agree to a specific time slot is a lot easier when you go into that with an assumptive close on that.
Yeah, and I find that helps you to get over the how about I talk to my husband or my wife and then I'll get back to you, because they usually are like, okay, we'll do 6, and then more often than not they'll commit to it, and if they don't, they'll at least email you, and then you could choose a different time.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay, so we've got 4 minutes left, and I want to make sure I respect everybody's time and end at 8 o'clock as promised. So, Tyler, if there was one thing that you wanted everyone to hear tonight, right? Everyone that's listening to you that, is looking to have the same success that you are experiencing right now, what would you want to leave them with?
Just, to be new in real estate, it's not always going to be easy. It's can be a tougher career, to the constant rejection and all that, but just kind of know that the failures, sounds really cheesy, but it's like the failures will turn into successes. So maybe you get rejected over and over again on Mojo, but then all of a sudden those rejections turn into more success in the long run. So just keep going and don't get discouraged.
Look for the failures, because success is on the other side of failure.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. So can we all agree that there was nothing really, shiny or new or anything in this conversation? Yeah. I think, the big truth bomb tonight is anything is possible as long as you're willing to surrender to the process and do the work. And what you want to show up will show up. And Tyler, I can guarantee you will blast through that 40 based on what you've accomplished so far, not just in, the deals that you've done and the buyers that you're working with, but the mindset and the commitment to the actions that you've put in place so far. So I'm going to be super excited to bring you back on at the end of the year, because you're still going to be in that 1 year mark, and we're going to be celebrating you blasting past that 40 deals, and also check in on what your future failures have taught you along the way.
Yeah.
So that is everything tonight, everyone. It was such an honor to spend the evening with you. Let's all give a huge thank you to Tyler for spending time with us.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
It was such an honor. Have a great evening, and do something with what you heard tonight. Okay? This wasn't learning for learning's sake. It was learning for doing's sake. So go take something and implement it. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, everyone.
Have a good night.
Bye, guys. Thanks for your time.
Tyler.
Thank you.